Alright YouTube, well I got a water pump, I got a front seal, and I got a front seal install tool, and I got this fan clutch remover deal there. Yeah, so you can probably guess what I am up to today. Let me go outside here. Yeah, we are supposed to get a ridiculous ice storm starting this weekend, and of course my truck decided to start crapping out antifreeze from the water pump, which is kind of buried under all that crap there. It doesn't look like it's too horrendous of a job to do. Hopefully it won't take too long because it's supposed to start raining about noon here, but yeah, like I said, we're supposed to get like a ridiculous ice storm this weekend, and I wanted to get it done before that. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to change the front seal because it's I noticed been leaking pretty good here. So I'll take some videos as I go along here, and yeah, should be a not very fun project. I got my old antifreeze drained out there, which that's only been in there for about 10-15,000 miles, which is kind of surprising that it's so nasty looking. I may just go ahead and replace it, but I got my new water pump. I did not go for a bulletproof one. Yeah, I just went with a factory one. I talked to a Ford tech at Kenny Weiss, and they basically said, just, you know, if you want to spend $350, go for the bulletproof one. If you just want to spend, you know, like $150, go for the Ford one. These are good for, like, you know, 200,000 miles. The one that's in there is the original one, and went for 240,000. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put a Ford one back in there. And yeah, also my front seal is leaking, so I got to replace that while I'm at it. And I'm going for the $75 tool here. I believe this came from Sinister Diesel. I ordered this a while ago and just haven't gotten around to putting it in yet. If you get a really nice install tool for that, they're about $500. This one was, like I said, $75. So hopefully you can get this seal in there without screwing it up. But basically what you have to do here to get this going, pull out your fan shroud, pull out your air filter, which I guess I should probably change out my air filter while I'm at it, and drain your radiator, pull your hoses loose, and you have to use this fancy tool here, or you can use an air hammer. Looks like somebody has been in here before and used an air hammer on the nut. I didn't have a long one, so I just went ahead and bought the little hooky tool here. I got this off Amazon for like $40. Comes with a big wrench too. Yeah, so now I get to try and get the fan off here. There's 4 bolts that hold the fan housing on here, one here, and then one's on the bottom. The ones on the bottom on this truck were a major pain in the ass. Mainly just because they were rusted and just kind of difficult to get off. The upper ones here, no big deal. They're all 15 millimeter. You just pull that off. There's a hanger here that's meant not for actually bolting it on, but just for hanging this while you're installing it. Unfortunately, mine is broken off, so I'm guessing it's going to be real fun to put back in there. But yeah, got to get this guy off here. And one thing you do need to be very mindful of is this is an electric clutch. And yeah, you got to be mindful to not destroy the wires in the process. But yeah, so that's my next step, is breaking the fan loose, and yeah, get this guy out of here. Alright, so here, if you are replacing the front seal on your 6-liter here, basically what you need to do is go ahead and get your fan shroud, get your fan, and all that stuff out of there. In this case, I have to replace a water pump, so I'm just doing all this all at once. Then you take an impact wrench with an 18mm socket, spin off your bolts here, and then the dampener there's loose. I'm just going to take a bloody big screwdriver and pop it off there. You can kind of wiggle it, but I'm going to go ahead and use a screwdriver. So let me put the camera down here and start the process. Now I have left the top bolt in just to make sure that this thing doesn't land on the ground and break. Now I'm not doing a huge amount of prying here. I'm just kind of using a little bit of pressure to try and wiggle this guy off here. There we go. Yeah, you do not need any kind of puller or anything like that. Right there, and we're loose. So yeah, no puller is necessary or anything like that. And I just once again left this top bolt in just to make sure I didn't drop this in the process of getting it off here. And there we go. Alright, so it's 10mm bolts on this cover, and I'm just using my ratchet here, pop them loose. These aren't very super tight. Just trying to do this and hold the camera at the same time is why this is being a little difficult. Alright, now I just took a little screwdriver, kind of worked it in there. I'm hopefully going to be able to do this without knocking it on the damn ground. I'm sure there's probably a better solution to this one. Oh, actually, and I need a bucket to drain the oil in. Alright, so it helps you actually remember to get a drip pan, because this is, behind this cover is the engine oil pump. It's just kind of sticking on the bottom a little bit there. Don't know why the hell it's not wanting to come off. I don't know if there's a pin on that or what the deal is. Alright, now I'm sure there is a better way to do this than what I'm going to do here, but this is how I'm going to do it. I got two pieces of 4x4 here. I'm just going to go ahead and set the housing here in between those and just tap out the seal. Just being damn sure you don't mess up, because this is the actual engine oil pump here, so being super careful not to break that. There we go. Just tapped it right out of there. No big deal. I clean this guy up here and get it ready to put back in. Alright, YouTube. Well, I was getting ready to show you how to remove the wear ring for the crankshaft here. And I was getting everything ready, and then I got in here and looked at it, and there's no wear ring. I don't know if somebody just didn't put the damn thing on at the factory, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, or at some point somebody has replaced this. There's no wear ring on the crank. I'm comparing the two seals here. This one is the factory Ford one, and Huh. Yeah, it looks like it's not meant to have a wear ring. That's weird. Huh. Well, that's a new one. This one's a little bit larger. Maybe an international one. I don't know. You would think the international ones would be meant to go for higher mileage than the Ford ones, but I don't know. This is a mystery to me. Well, anyway, that I think is probably the most harrowing part, is removing that, because you have to use like a die grinder on your crankshaft to get that wear ring off there, but that seal didn't have a wear ring. So, yeah. I don't know what, I just need to clean a little bit of the rust off here. I'll just use some Scotch-Brite and knock this little bit of rust off here, and then push on that new wear ring. That is pretty damn weird. Yeah, this truck really is a constant source of head scratcher. I don't know. That's really weird. I'm going to have to do some digging to try and get to the bottom of this no wear sleeve thing, but my new seal came with a wear sleeve. I just took some Scotch-Brite and cleaned up. There's a little bit of just really light surface rust on the crank there. I can't imagine what would have caused that. There's no wear sleeve, you know, loose on the inside of the dampener there. Like, I don't know what would have caused that. I mean, it doesn't look like there was ever one on there, but it looks like if you installed this new seal without a wear sleeve on there, it looks like it would leak. I don't know, maybe somebody out there can give me some insight as to what the crap is up with that. But so basically the install of the new wear sleeve, which does look like it's going to slide on there okay. I took this and kind of just pressed it up there with my fingers, and it looks like it's going to go on okay. Anyway, so yeah, basically if you look at this really carefully here, there's two edges on it, and from reading or watching Diesel Tech Ron's videos, this edge goes towards the motor, and then this edge goes towards the tool, so it gives you something to kind of press against. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, I got some red Loctite. You're supposed to put red Loctite on the inside of that, just kind of like a thin layer, and then that tool is just supposed to slide on there, and you kind of tap it with a hammer, and fingers crossed that it just goes right on there. So yeah, I'm going to get to that. Alright, as you can see, I got my thin layer of red thread locker on there. I got this guy all cleaned up down here, and we take a rag and clean it off one last time, but it's all nice and clean. I'm going to go ahead and try tapping this guy on there. It helps if you actually grab your hammer. Right now, from what I understand, this guy just goes on there like that. And it bottoms out, and you're on. Clean off the thread locker there. All right. We'll give that another tap just to be doubly sure that I got it, but I'm pretty sure it bottomed out. Yep. All right. So that $75 tool worked like a charm. You just slide your ring in there, pop it on. Very light hits. There's a 3-pound drilling hammer. I just went with a heavy one there just so I didn't have to beat on it too much. And yeah, that ring went right on there. I'm thrilled. Now let's get this guy back on, get the seal in it, and finish this job up. Alright, so this side of the seal, I just went ahead and pushed it in with my fingers, and then just tapped it very lightly with a dead blow. Very, very little effort was required. This has actually so far been a remarkably easy repair. This can only go on one way. There's a hole here, and right there's a pin. You just put it on there and put it back together. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put some anti-seize on these just because they're going into an aluminum housing. Anytime I do anything like that, I always put anti-seize on them. So we'll go ahead and just thread the bolts back in there, tighten them up, and be done with that part of it. Then we got to put the balancer back on. Alright, so this has so far been a remarkably easy job. So there's my balancer, or actually I guess it's not a balancer, it's a dampener on this. Basically you just line the pin up right there with pinhole there and torque the bolts down to 50 foot-pounds plus another 90 degrees. So I'm going to get this guy in here. This is probably going to be the worst part of this whole part of the job right here, is just wrestling this damn thing back in here. It's actually pretty heavy. Got those snugged up. Now it's 50 foot-pounds plus another 90 degrees of turn on the bolts. Alright, so I've gone ahead and torqued those to 50 foot-pounds. To do that extra 90, you're going to need to put the fan belt on. And since I'm doing the water pump next, I'm going to go ahead and do the water pump, and then I can put the fan belt back on. Go ahead and spin these guys off here with my ratchet. Alright, now I should just be able to take a dead blow here, pop this guy. Hopefully you can see this okay. I'm trying to get my camera out of the splash zone. I've got a bucket underneath there to collect my water. And you can see on the bottom side here where this guy was leaking. Looks like it was coming out of the weep hole there. So I don't know how many miles, if this is the original one or not, but this truck's got 240,000 on it at this point, and yeah, I don't really mind throwing a water pump on it. So now it's time for the new one. Get my phone out of the way here. Basically, these are really easy to replace. Old one, new one, just put the seal in there and put it back together. And just double check that these are the exact same size. Yep. Because there are two different size water pumps. There's one that's, I believe, 90 millimeters and one that's 100 millimeters. The smaller version is on 03s and 04s, since this truck is an 06. Yeah, bigger water pump, and yeah, should be ready to go. Now basically just pop this guy back in there. I took a rag and a screwdriver and just kind of scraped any crud out of where the O-ring seats, and then yeah, we're ready to bolt this guy back up in here. Alright, so I got everything finished up here. For doing your 90 degrees on these after you do your 50 foot-pounds, I just put the fan tool right there and 36-inch bar here, because you're going to need it to get that 90 degrees. You really got to crank those guys down. But yeah, it's yeah, that takes some muscle to do. Pretty doable job. I'm really happy with how this has turned out so far. This has only taken me a couple hours. I thought this would be like an all-day type deal. I got to get everything put back together here, but it should go pretty quick. Alright, well, at this point all I have to do is refill the coolant. If you are thinking about doing this, it's really not as bad a job as you might think. Just take it step by step. Take out your radiator shroud, your fan, and then once you get to that stuff out of there, it's actually not that bad to work on the 6 liter. There's a lot of room in there once you take that stuff out. It's kind of a pain to get that stuff out of there. I can't tell you as much as how bad it is to remove that wear sleeve, since for whatever reason this motor didn't have one. I don't know if it either didn't have one from the factory, or somebody at some point has done a hack job on this and just left it off there, but I don't know, it just made it less work for me to replace. So anyway, I'm gonna fill this up. I run the gold Xerox stuff in this, along with the aux filter here to try and prevent my oil cooler from having any problems. I changed that on it when I first got the truck. So far so good. The difference between the engine coolant and the engine oil is running somewhere between like 3 to 5 degrees, which if you don't know a whole lot about the way the 6 liter works, it uses hydraulically actuated injectors, and if the oil going from the oil cooler, or that goes through the oil cooler to the high pressure oil pump to the injectors, if that is above 240, you're going to have big problems. So basically you need to get that as cool as possible. So did the oil cooler on this truck and I've not had any problems with it. So fingers crossed. I'm going to fill this guy back up here and take it into town and fill it up, because it's starting to look nasty out and we're supposed to get an ice storm this weekend, so I want to get my truck back and running. So anyway, I'm Darlington Farm. Hope you enjoyed the video here. I will have some more videos up here before too long. I've just kind of been loafing around and not really doing any videos. So anyway, thank you for watching. Please check back to the channel here.